in my final year of university, I was living with 6 girls in a college house, and I was
poor you. What is this?
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. It's like, what?
The more you push for creative freedom, the more you find that the brands that approach you are brands that will allow you creative freedom, because you're kind of weeding out the ones that won't.
A lot of these creators that have come up, they tell you what they're eating for every meal, what they're doing every second of every day, who they're dating, all of this.
Yeah.
It can't be me. Like, I love that little bit of privacy. Like,
if you are ever, let's say, contracted by a brand to create 3 videos and they want to use 3 videos, and you have ideas for 5 videos, make the 5 videos.
Wow.
So what's your name and what type of content do you create?
Hi, so I'm Creed, and I would say lifestyle sums up my content pretty well. Kind of like a 360 content creator, I like to think, but
360, I like that.
Yeah. What's your name? What do you create?
I'm Tega Alexander, and yeah, I'll say like fashion and lifestyle mainly, and yeah, also a little bit of 360. Yeah, I just explore different things. But yeah, if I had to hone in, then I'd say fashion and lifestyle.
Big thank you to Cube for having us at their incredible Hackney Wick studio.
As the world's first studio subscription and community for content and music creators, Cube offers an inspiring environment for any creator.
With 4 locations across London, including their new location in Elephant and Castle, they are a key player in the creative community.
If you're interested in joining them, make sure you use the code CONC24 in the refer field when applying for priority access.
I think like that 360 creator is kind of like the new world creator, where you're not so niche down, and it's pretty cool to be 3D in a way.
You know what? Let's talk about niches. How do you feel about niches? No, because I'm someone that like, I've never really felt like I had that much of a niche. I've always kind of been forced to pick a niche in circumstances where like, it's like, okay, cool. What do you actually like create around? But I'm really not with niches that much, you know?
I'm honestly the exact same.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think there's a type of creator that needs a niche. Like, that's their brand, that's their business. But personally, I like different things at different points in my life. And I kind of wanted to build a brand about myself where if I wanted to pivot into something, it wouldn't be super outrageous or super different. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, he's just like elevated into this world. So.
100%. And like, I just feel like I wake up every other day and I'm like, I want to do something different.
Yeah.
I want to make something different today. I want to experience something different today, and I want to communicate something different today. And I think it's I do respect people who can be so on top of a niche, though. I do think it takes a lot of skill to be so like honed in on a niche, and so I do respect it. But I just know that for me, it's almost impossible, man. Yeah, almost impossible.
No, I'm the same. And then kind of leads us into what led you to start creating, and what's been your experience so far.
Yeah, I always say that I kind of fell into it. It's one of them things that it felt like it just kind of happened. Mainly around like lockdown. I remember I was working a 9 to 5, and then everything kind of happened. Everybody gets sent home, and then there's just all of a sudden there's just time. There's just felt like infinite amount of time, and I was like, what do I do? I would finish my 9 to 5 work, and then I'd just kind of be there like, okay, cool. Like, what happens now? And then I just started creating then. And then one thing led to another. And then you just kind of snowball into, very luckily snowball into the space that I'm in now. And my experience so far has been good, man. It's been really positive. I've met some really cool people. I've done some incredible things. I've had a chance to express myself in ways that I never would have thought possible. And still have that opportunity. So I'm very, very grateful. And yeah, to even have met people like yourself, man, like, I feel like we've connected quite well over the last year or so. So it's a beautiful space in a way.
Yeah. I think it is quite cool. Like, just thinking back to kind of how we met. Like, growing up, I was a massive football fan. Chelsea was my dream club, and we actually met playing football together at
Stamford Bridge. How insane was that game?
Bro, like, game recognized game. Yeah, I saw Tega on the field. I was like, yeah. He's gonna be a friend for sure.
Do you know what happened? There's a precise moment, bro. Like, I think the ball must have come into you. You took a touch and you flicked it over my head, and I said, "Who is this guy?" I said, who is this brother? And we gotta talk. We gotta talk. But yeah, that's so mad. But I mean, what has been sort of your experience so far? And how did you sort of get into it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember jumping on Instagram, like, it was grade 8 in high school, and I come from a small town in Australia, so social media wasn't really a big thing, but I kind of just loved to post little snippets of my life. I started on Instagram, and I was kind of dabbling in the modeling world when I was younger, like my teenage years, and I would typically like post my modeling photos on Instagram, and it would get pretty good traction. And then I also love to travel. So like when I was 12, I moved to South Africa, went to high school there, and then I went to Indonesia for a bit, and then went to university in America. And when I moved to America, I kind of understood the creator world a bit more, because that's kind of where, you see
economy
things.
over there, really,
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
And I had some unique experiences. Like I was an Australian living in Idaho, California, and I kind of was just documenting the journey. And I think the pivotal moment for me was in my final year of university. I was living with 6 girls in a college house, and I was
poor you. What is this?
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. And it's like, what? And I just documented the experience, and it did well.
Okay.
Like, mate, I'll tell people about this experience, and they'll be like, wait, you're that guy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm him.
Yeah.
And then, I guess when I came to London, that's when I really understood, like, okay, this is how you brand yourself a certain way. This is how you attract certain brands.
You know what? That's so interesting that like you're talking about, obviously you've traveled into and not even just traveled, like, but lived in like all these different places. Like, is there a particular place that you would say has impacted your trajectory as a creator, or the way you approach creating as a whole?
Good question. I would say
let's get into it now.
I would say London's been the turning point for sure. It was where I surrounded myself with people like yourself, like creatives and filmmakers that I aspire to kind of create like. Where I think in America and other places is like, it's a completely different world. There's people doing, streaming things. There's fashion, beauty. Where here, like, people are really aesthetic in the way that they create content, and that's the content that I like to create as well. So when I was surrounding myself with people like yourself, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to be like. And,
Oh, sick, man. That's amazing.
Yeah. What about you? You've kind of just been in London mostly.
Yeah, I've been in London mostly. I've lived in different places. So I was born in Nigeria. Moved to Scotland when I was 10, lived there for 2 years, and then moved to Portsmouth, which is like south of England, and then, uni, did all of that, and then came to London, back to Portsmouth, London, but I was back and forth for a little while, and then now I'm permanently in London. But yeah, London's probably had the most effect on me as well. And again, it's mainly around, like you say, the people that you meet, right? And I feel like there's a certain energy, there's an undercurrent in London that's kind of... around any corner you could meet somebody that has a very, very different perspective on life, on whether it's fashion, whether it's food, whether it's culture. They just have a very different perspective on it. And the way they communicate that tells a lot about who they actually are, right? And I think I've just loved meeting people and experiencing how they communicate the things that they're passionate about, whether it's picking up a camera and documenting it, or, or making something so beautiful, or designing something so beautiful. So yeah, London definitely has that has my heart in that way.
Yeah. I definitely, I've lived in a few cities now, and I've lived in like LA, done that. And I think what's super special about London is how much of a melting pot of culture it is.
Yeah.
Like, you've got so many Europeans, Americans, Australians, and everyone's, come from different walks of life. So they're all kind of bringing that to the city, and you can really see it in the way that people create content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. What's your favorite brand collaboration, and in a few words, why?
So we were actually kind of chatting about this earlier, but Ralph Lauren for Wimbledon.
Yeah.
I did that last year. I was lucky enough to do that. Ralph was always a brand that I really wanted to be like affiliated with.
Yeah.
Like, it's a beautiful, timeless brand. It's classic. When you're wearing the pieces, you feel like you feel like him.
Yeah. It was saying super clean, and like they really look after you, Ralph.
Yeah.
Really look after you.
And I love sports, so to have that tie to Wimbledon at the time was amazing. You know,
You ever played any tennis?
here and there, but I don't rate myself that highly on the tennis court. More of a footballer.
You're an athlete, bro. You're an athlete. You'll be fine.
But
Tennis was one of those things that I haven't played, but for some reason I feel like I'd be good at it, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
We'll get on the court then. It humbles you. I'll be honest. It's one of those
imagine, bro. I can imagine. I'm just talking. I know I'm gonna get out of there. I'm gonna be blown within 2 hits, one backhand, and I'm out. So I know it's gonna be difficult.
Maybe we'll get each other on a court one day, and we'll kind of.
I'm down. I'm around.
But
I'm around.
what about you? What's your favorite brand collaboration?
Do you know I've done a couple. Oh, my absolute favorite. Do you know, I will say I did something with WhatsApp that was really close to home and that I loved, because it was essentially I was going back to Nigeria for the first time after being away for like 20 years.
I remember this one.
Yeah. And they just kind of, it was really beautiful, because they were just kind of like, just make something. And you know, communicate that experience in whichever way you want to communicate that experience in. And I was able to do that. It was a real like freeing collaboration. And it was one of those where, you know, you send over the final edit after I'd made it, and then I was kind of like, oh, you're waiting for feedback and you're waiting for edits, and they were like, yeah, no, love it as it is. Happy to go with it. And I think it was just like a really nice experience to have been able to create something with such creative freedom, pour myself into it, something that was close to home, a real like experience for me, and they just kind of really get on board with it and allow me to just kind of do it in that way. So that was like,
yeah, I remember seeing that and I was like, this is a movie. And I think what makes it super special is, like you said, it's close to home.
Yeah.
And to create like new world content in like a place that you come from is so special.
Yeah, honestly, it was difficult. Shooting in Nigeria is difficult. Oh, but Nigeria is a very interesting place. It is a very interesting place. But getting those clips was so funny, because I remember they seized my camera one day when I was just like out shooting in the street, and it was a whole situation. But
I remember you had a bit of a squad around you though. Like you were surrounded by a few creators out there as well.
Because we went so did Nigeria for like a little bit, then did Ghana for a little bit, and then did South Africa, and then came back. So it was like a good little trip. It was out there for a little while. Cool. Sick.
And then would you say you prefer the creative freedom or the big budget?
Let's do a little collab would be no. If I had to choose one, I would say creative freedom. And I think the more you request creative freedom as a creator, I think it's difficult at first. It's something that feels really scary to do. To put your, not necessarily put your foot down, but to say to a brand, hey, I think this would really work best if you kind of let me take lead in certain creative aspects. And I think when you start doing that at first, it feels very scary, but I think it's absolutely crucial and it's essential, because what's going to happen is that you're going to have a lot of brands say no to that, and you're going to have a lot of brands that will kind of that will fall by the wayside. But what you're doing is actually, you're not losing those like deals or those collaborations. What you're doing is you're actually cultivating an environment where you actually get to take control of what you're putting out there and what you're making. And you might find, okay, cool, at first you might feel like you're losing things, but in the long run you're gaining a lot of freedom as well in yourself, a lot of creative freedom, and then the budgets will come. The more you create the things that you love in a way that you're really passionate about, I think the big budgets will come. But you just have to have the faith and stick it out, man. It's not easy, but you have to just stick it out. How about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar in the way that like the creative freedom means a lot to me. Like I've kind of had both sides of the spectrum, and the thing is, the way I see creators is we're not really a way to reach an audience, but we're more so like a little production team and like a marketing agency. So like with that, like for example, I run a business and like when I'm speaking to a production team to shoot a commercial for the company, like I give them that creative freedom because that's who they are as a business. 100. And I think as a creator, like that's our business as well, is one of our, I guess, talents is that creative aspect.
Yeah.
So it's really important to kind of keep that in the deal.
Yeah.
Because, like we're not just a source of reach.
Yeah. And I think as well, it's when you have conversations about creative freedom, it allows you to find out what a brand is really paying for, in a sense. Like a brand can come to you and offer you X amount of money, but what you get to figure out, are you actually paying me for my creative acumen, or are you actually paying for my audience? Yeah. And those are two very different things. Same creator, two very different things. Yeah. So if I understand what you're coming to me for, if you're like, okay, I just want to reach an audience, how I approach that is going to be very different to if you're like, okay, I want to create something, whether it's impactful or something that really speaks to the people that you care about in your audience, I'm going to approach that completely differently. So I think having those conversations and pushing back on creative freedom allows you to kind of suss out what the brand wants, and then you're like, the intentions, and you're like, all right, cool, this is where we're at, and this is what we're doing. So,
and both sides is fine though. Like I also get it from a brand's perspective, is like their job's to come up with marketing campaign ideas.
Yeah.
So like
yeah. And a lot of the time, I think they do that well. I think what they sometimes probably struggle with is letting go of the aspects that they're not so good at, that somebody else is better at. And that's why we're all working together at the end of the day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they would just make it themselves if they could, right? So but talk to me, tight turnaround or delayed payment? It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't mind a tight turnaround. It kind of, but then again, if you're in a creative block, it can make things difficult. But for me, like payment's not the most important thing. Like whether it's delayed or not, it's more so if I'm enjoying creating the content, if I know it's going to resonate with my audience. Like, and tight turnarounds, like, I don't know. I feel like I work under tight turnarounds quite a lot, so it's something I'm used to.
Yeah, tight turnarounds is a bit of a given. Like, you can't really escape it in the industry. But I'm gonna look at you when I say this. I hate a tight turnaround. Let me tell you now. But I've gotten much better at doing tight turnarounds, and I think. And the reason I say I hate tight turnarounds is because I really care, man. Like, I get something in, I'm like, how can I might need 2, 3, 4 days to pull this together, but sometimes you don't have that time.
The thing is, though, like, from an outside perspective, like, you're a filmmaker, and that's a process that it takes time. So I can imagine, like, in a tight turnaround, it is difficult.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Where, like, I would say, in my sense, I'm someone that just likes to live a certain life and document it and then incorporate those brands into my life, whether it's like fashion related, beauty related.
That's quite, you've done it in quite a very organic way where like you say, it does actually feel like it absolutely is your life, and it's not like you're now like, hey, go and buy this, or hey, like, check this out. It's kind of like, I believe like everything that you work on, I believe that that's a part of like your life, which is like, I think is also quite a difficult thing to do and to have like set up. So
well, that was the thing, is I never really wanted, like, I always wanted my Instagram to be a portfolio of my life. And it was, I always think like, what would my future kids think when they look at my account? Is it like a catalog of ads, or is it like, oh wow, my dad did this, he did this, he dressed like this, like, how cool is that? And that's kind of what I think about when I'm creating content, is what will like my future kind of look back on. And
I want my kids to think I was the coolest man alive. I swear to you. I like this is my dad. That's why we do what we do. I swear to you, like, and there's so many times like I've taken photos. So like when people like, because I try and lug a film camera around most of the time, and like I'm just taking photos of random things, and I look back at them and I'm like, yo, like, one day this is just going to be so sick to just open all of these and just to flick through and just be like, like we were really living in these moments and like capturing these moments in a really cool way.
My mum was so good with that when I was growing up. She's got
I see you always post
pics, and I'm like, wow. She set the tone for me now, because I'm like, I want that for my kids. Document their kid in pictures, because there's something different about a physical image, whether it's like on film or whatever. Because iPhone, like, I'm sure you've got thousands of photos, and it's easy to get lost in those.
So easy.
Where the physical things is like,
Yeah, and I'm really intentional like with anything that I shoot on film because I have separate folders where I'm like I literally will keep everything, try and always get my negatives back as well. Like, so just because like in a way it can end up being quite timeless.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
Tega.
Yeah.
What's the best editing app and software?
DaVinci Resolve for me, mainly because of the control you can have over the color grading. It's difficult to learn. It was difficult for me to learn anyway, but 100% DaVinci Resolve.
Filmmaker.
I'll be trying. How about you? What's the best editing app and software for you?
I'm pretty standard, man. Like, I love Lightroom. Just the things you can do with Lightroom. And I'm someone that I don't edit my things a lot. Like photos.
You just woke up, got out of bed looking like that, looking that clean.
I don't know. I just feel like it's the raw organic stuff that does well. And I think what I've really seen, especially in the last 6 months, that does well is the real candid, like, stuff where someone's halfway through eating a burger. It's those pictures where it's like, oh, that's me.
Yeah.
That's how I eat a burger, you know, sloppy.
Like,
things falling out. And when you're not editing things a lot, you see that rawness.
Yeah, 100. Smartphone or DSLR?
I love DSLR.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm going to do something, I want to make it professionally.
Yeah.
When it comes to certain types of content.
Yeah, I'd have to go DSLR as well.
Yeah.
Love a smartphone though. I think it's great to have something, and the cameras are getting much better and better by each launch, right? So it's great to have that. But
I think a balance is cool. Like, I love it when I go into someone's profile and I see some iPhone, DSLR,
some film, VHS. Like, honestly, it's like it's the best way to just keep refreshing it for yourself as well.
Yeah.
What's your best kept editing secret / hack?
Keep attention by making the clips short.
Okay.
I think like snappy clips, like what I've found is 0.4 seconds per clip. It always just hits, and it times the music perfectly. If you can time, if you can time the video to the music, hits different.
Then you're good. Yeah. Me, I would say, to be fair, this changes all the time, but for now, I'm power grades on DaVinci. They make life a lot easier.
Shout out DaVinci.
Hey, big up DaVinci, man. If you could get rid of one platform, which one would you be willing to lose? Damn.
It's difficult because, like, there was a time when each app was doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Instagram was pictures, TikTok was videos, Snapchat was candid, YouTube was long form. But now they're slowly starting to take bits and pieces from themselves.
Yeah.
Everyone's got short form video now, so it's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
There's also, because of that, there's just content overload. People repurposing the same videos on every platform.
Yeah.
But I love Instagram. That's like the OG one for me.
Yeah.
It's photos, it's videos, it's messaging, stories. TikTok for me, like, it's still mostly just short form.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd honestly probably get rid of TikTok.
Well, you said that so quietly. I said, I'd probably get rid of it. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to cop out and just say Snapchat just because I don't use Snapchat.
Fair.
But because I think TikTok, I can't like. Yeah, TikTok is a different app now than when I was first on TikTok. So, but I can't be mad at it at all. Like, I understand what it's trying to do. I will say, like, YouTube probably to me is one of those apps that's really held its integrity quite well.
Mm-hmm.
They've done new stuff, but they've really stood by what they.
That's one platform I really wish I got on earlier.
Yeah, same.
But then again, YouTube is a full-time job.
It really is.
Like, if you want to do that well, it's a serious task.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that kind of scared me about YouTube. I was like, do I have the time to really like sit down and lock in?
Especially when you're a bit of a perfectionist and you want every video to be...
Bro, it would take ages. It would take me months to get one video out. And then I'll get it out and be like, guys, what's up now? All right, see you in the next 6 months.
Quarterly video,
bro, yeah. And by the time it comes out, life is probably out of date and we've moved on. I'm like,
You're talking about a relationship that
ended time ago, and everyone's like, "But I swear, you're like, don't worry about it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy the content, big man. Just enjoy."
Yeah,
No,
I think YouTube's the one, especially that's where you build a serious audience.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
diehards.
I've seen that. I've seen that. Right, segment 3.
Oh,
The creator and the strategy.
what are some challenges you face as a creator?
I think, challenges I face as a creator. I think, like we were just talking about audience. I think building an audience that you can mobilize, I think, is a challenge that I've faced. And it's like if I look back, I can see certain points where I was like, oh, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. But I think one of the biggest and most important things for creators nowadays is to try and build an audience that you can mobilize. And when I say mobilize, I don't mean like, there's in a way, physically, yes. If you can get them to turn up to something, whether it's like, you're doing like a live event or something that you can physically build that community, yes. But also, I mean, in terms of like, you can shift them from place to place and you can take them on a journey with you. I think that's something that I've always kind of struggled with. Mainly, again, because I'm so sometimes focused in like the perfectionism of things that I sometimes forget to really bring people along with me on the journey, which is why I think there's like, I've seen a lot of increase in like people doing like BTS, people documenting their processes a lot more when they're trying to, build these worlds. And I think that's some of the best things that you can do to try and like mobilize an audience. But that's one of my biggest challenges. Yeah. How about yours?
I would say just keeping your audience engaged in every piece of content you do. Like, it's so difficult because people change, they start to enjoy different things, and then that's kind of why we go back to that 3D creator, is building your brand around who you are as a person, because then people want to follow the person, not like the content you're putting out. And that was kind of a big thing for me. And then it goes without saying, but that subconscious comparing to like other people in the industry, like it's a standard one, but it should always kind of be spoken about.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're scrolling, and what I've honestly found is whenever I'm scrolling for inspiration, I find I lose my inspiration and creativity. So it's kind of like, it's a double-edged sword, because you're going out there looking for, oh, that's a cool idea, let me try create something similar to that. But then you start to lose your internal spark of that creativity.
Yeah, I hear you. That's a tough one. Do you know what I find? Like, so I try not to. Where do you scroll? Where do you go to find inspiration? Do you mainly use like Instagram or
Instagram or Pinterest for photos?
Yeah, I was gonna say I try and take myself out of. I try and find inspiration outside of social media. So I'll either use like so Pinterest, or I'll try and use like Shot Deck, iCandy, which are like, they're good resources to, again, learn about like new shots, new perspectives, but also just to start to build up an idea of what you actually want to make without being influenced by how it's going to show up on social media. So then I try and do that first. And then I found that helps, because if I'm scrolling on Instagram trying to find certain things on Instagram, instantly I end up down rabbit holes of people's content being like, my stuff isn't good enough. Man. I'm like, why am I doing, like, my stuff isn't good enough? So I try and, firm up my perspective first. And I'm like, this is what I want to make before I go there.
I've always found that when I set out to create content, it's best for me to start creating content before I've started scrolling. Yeah. Because as soon as I start scrolling, I'm kind of just like, oh no, maybe that idea that I had isn't as good as I thought it was.
Yeah. Or somebody's like done something maybe similar, but there's always this thing that there are no new ideas under the sun, right? So everybody's done everything, or a version of something, right? But it's always about like your perspective and how you're going to go and tell that story. That I think is the key thing.
Yeah, it's also remembering your uniqueness. In a sense, like even the way that clothes fit. Like if we wear the same outfit,
it will drop differently.
It's gonna fit so differently, and I think people forget that. It's like the same way you film a skincare video is going to be so different to how someone else does it. Yeah. And then maybe if the quality is not as good as that other person you've seen, you might resonate more with a certain audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so right. Like, so you could be on the same campaign with somebody and come out with two completely different worlds, and it have two different responses from the exact same audience. Like it's wild. So yeah, that individuality still reigns true, man. 100%. What are some of your techniques for growing and engaging with your audience? I think we just kind of really been talking about that as well.
I think in terms of the growing though, collaborating with other creators is so important. That was something because I've only really dived into this industry properly probably in the last 12 to 18 months. And for the first 6 months to a year, I was always just posting my own stuff, modeling photos. Like I wasn't really showing my friendships and all of that.
Yeah.
And I realized this year, honestly, people really just want to see communities of people when you're with friends doing certain things because whether they want to aspire to be like it or they relate to that, just creating with other people it makes the job a lot more fun as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What he said is what I'm gonna take. That was a banging answer, to be fair. Collaboration is, I think, is it.
And even like it doesn't even have to be, hey bro, you want to film a video like this? It was like, for example, when we went to Manchester together to watch the football, like just having you there made it so much more fun. And then we're on the field at Manchester.
That was insane as well. What were we doing on the sidelines of the Etihad, just watching Grealish just ping some balls? That was weird,
man.
But. Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, you're right. Community is the key word there that you said. Community building, and showing the process of building that community. I think absolutely.
We've actually had some experience. Come to think of it, we played at Stamford Bridge. We're in Manchester. We've done red carpet.
We've done some stuff, bro. In a short space of time, we've done some stuff.
Podcast now.
Yeah, we can take that off the list, man. Okay, are you with management or are you an independent creator?
Right now I'm actually independent. I've had management in the past. Pros and cons to both. I would definitely say if you want this to be your like full-time business, you definitely need a team around you.
Yeah, 100%.
What about yourself?
Yeah, I have. You know what? We were just talking about this outside. Like, I'm in the process of like reshaping my team a little bit, but absolutely, I don't think I could do it independent. So at the moment, I have an agent, and I've just brought on a management company separate to the agent, but obviously to work in collaboration with the agent. And I got signed. Obviously, I got signed as an actor about 6 months ago. So then I have an acting agent. So I'm just trying to build like a 360
big team.
Yeah, team of
big
just
things coming from Tega, by the way. Keep your eyes out on the
We are praying to God. We are just praying to God. That's what we can do. No, but yeah, I think, bro, 100%, man. Just building a team has been crucial for me. I do like I know a couple of people who are independent, and I'm in awe of them as well, man. Because I'm just like, how much it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of organization, and I think one thing I've started to do when I'm like reaching out to teams or like working with teams is just tell people very openly what I'm bad at.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, by the way, I suck at this. So as we go, you know, where we might experience rifts there. And I think that's exactly why I need a team, because they're things that I'm like, I'm terrible at this.
And I think there's so much power in that, is understanding what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, because no one's good at everything. You know? And having, I guess, the vulnerability to be like, guys, I'm not great at this. Can we help? Like, can you guys help in some sort of way? And then, because if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together.
Amen. We getting a sermon from Creed today. We are in church.
How do you work on building creator relationships?
So kind of like, I think there are two main ways, kind of like how we built our relationship, where it's just like super organic and we just like invite each other to things that like, there are things that I know that you'll care about and that you'll like, and like you'll be the first phone call I make. And I like that I have that with like, you know, certain people in the industry as well. So there are things that I'm just like, oh yeah, I think that this person would really like this. And if I get the opportunity to then invite them to that, then I do that. I've also recently started trying to like, you know, via my platform, just reach out to people who are really talented in certain things or whose work I really like, and just kind of saying to them, hey, let's work on something, or, you know, can I'm starting to build like a little bit of a community of whether it's filmmakers, DOPs, editors, even sound technicians, social producers. I recently started to kind of put call outs for that on my platform last week or the week before last. Again, just to try and start to build a community of people that I can reach out to and we can just go and make some stuff together. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it at the moment. What's yours?
I would say it's kind of just showing up as like who you are. You kind of attract the people that for the energy that you put out.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like most of my real good relationships come organically, whether I start seeing them in the same places a lot and then you start to kind of create a relationship outside of the creator world as well.
Yeah.
Because I think like a lot of people sometimes have two sides, is in the creator world they're a certain type of way, but then behind closed doors they might be a different way. And just getting on with people in both worlds it's rare, but it's special.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, in this world there's so many different types of events. You know, there's the luxury fashion events, there's the beauty events, there's the sporting ones. So you typically are in your own little world there, and you start to see the same faces at the same events, and then you just naturally kind of build relationships with those people.
Yeah.
I really like the creators that have something going on outside of the creator world as well.
Yeah. I think it's like, it shows I think a certain level of understanding when you have like, as a creator, you're able to, you know, create things that you love and are passionate about, but you're also like looking outside of yourself and outside of the bubble that you're in, because I think it's quite easy, like you say, to just get sucked into the bubble and just stay there and be like, okay, cool, this is where my life must exist. But you know, there's a world outside. Like sometimes go outside, touch grass, see what else is going on.
I look back and I'm like, I need to be more grateful for some of the opportunities that we get. Like, for example, we're going to these amazing sporting events. We're going on holidays with brands.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you take yourself on holiday, you realize how amazing those holidays are.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
You look at the price of the hotel room and you think, okay, all right.
Like, it's such a special world that we're in. Like, sometimes you have these pinch me moments, and then it's like, oh, what's next? But
yeah, bro, I literally went to Amalfi Coast.
we were meant to go.
Yeah, we were meant to go. I know. But bro, there was one night on that trip where I was just like, we were on the edge of this cliff, and I was just stood on the edge of the cliff, just looking out, and I swear to you, like a couple tears may have dropped.
Was there a photo of that moment?
There is a photo of that moment from behind me. Yeah, there's a photo of that moment from behind me, but I was hiding my face to the side.
No, it's special.
Man, it really is special.
Like, you take some of these things for granted, but it's like we see the world from a real good angle.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think gratitude is the most important thing. Do you think you have a healthy relationship with social media? This is a great question.
Yeah. Ebbs and flows.
Yeah,
I would say there's times where you can really get in a bit of a hole with social media, and it can be difficult to get out. But I've found that, you know, spending time with people in person, putting the phone away when needed, kind of builds that healthy relationship with the platform again.
Yeah.
But it's also the understanding that, you know, you've got peaks and troughs with social media. Sometimes you're on top of the world, and then other times things can be a bit dry, and you're like, oh, do I want to continue doing this? Like, it's quite difficult. So just understanding that, like anything in life, like, it's a journey of ups and downs.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, absolutely. I'm the same. I think there are two things I wanted to definitely do for myself. The first was kind of, I wanted to desensitize myself to like likes, views, and all these like vanity metrics. And it took a little bit of time, but I managed to kind of like slowly wean myself off. So I don't really care about those things as much anymore. And also I wanted to start trying to do real work in the real world, like actually go out and film things and work on things and try and, you know, creative direct some things, whether it's just with people that I know or like, you know, anybody that would give me an opportunity to physically come and do something. I always like run at those, because I feel like it then again takes me out of that bubble of social media and allows me to understand that, okay, yeah, there's a much greater thing to be very thankful for, which is life, and which is the world that we live in, and the world that we're able to create in. and then social media is just a very small way of communicating the lives that we live. Do you know what I mean? Because it's impossible. And also, like, I used to think about, like, when I first started on social media, and every day I'd be on like stories like, hey guys, I'm doing this today and I'm doing that today and I'm going here, and I'm like, what a weird way to live your life.
Yeah.
Like, just go and get the coffee. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like I don't need to turn up and tell you exactly where I'm going, what I'm doing. But I felt like that's what people wanted from me, so that's what I did. But if you know me personally, like, I can be in my house for 2 weeks straight. I can live a very quiet life. So I had to stop myself from showing up in the way that I thought people wanted me to show up on social media, and then I just kind of show up as and when I'm ready.
That's what I think a real difficult aspect of social media is the ones that document everything perform very well.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
There's a lot of these creators that have come up. They tell you what they're eating for every meal, what they're doing every second of every day, who they're dating, all of this.
Yeah.
It can't be me. Like, I love that little bit of privacy. Like,
I said, I love that for you, but it could never be me.
Yeah, it's difficult. Like, putting your whole life out there is challenging. And hats off to the people that do.
Yeah. Do you know what? Because what's so funny is that's sometimes some of my favorite content to watch. I love it. I will binge your stories about you doing absolutely nothing all weekend. I will love it. Yeah. Full volume. I'll even leave your TikTok on repeat while I clean my kitchen. Yes. But me personally making that content, I couldn't. I just couldn't. Do you know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I would say that I am managing my relationship with social media the best way I know how, and that will change from time to time. Yeah.
Love that. I'm keen to know this one from you. But what's your creative process when receiving a brief, working with a brand?
First, before double clicking on that brief, we pray to God that the brief does not suck. we pray that it's decent. No, I'm playing. First, obviously, I start by having a look at the brief. If I'm being presented with the brief at that stage, having a look at the brief, and I will try and come up with maybe 2 or 3 key sentences or key things in a brief that I'm like, okay, this is what I feel like they're trying to communicate. I started doing this thing now where, so I'll take those 3 things, I'll then come up with my ideas, and I not necessarily pitch back, but I send back a creative deck, which might be like 5 pages of, and on that deck we'll have my approach. We'll have the key things that I picked up from the brief, just to make sure that we're communicating about the same things. I will then go into details such as, like, okay, where I plan to shoot, how I plan to shoot it. If I'm going to have someone shoot it, I'll have like visual references from things that I love on there. So like a couple of videos, whether from other creators or something I've done in the past, I'll put that on that deck. And then I will, depending on what it is, again, if it's like fashion, lifestyle and things like that, I will go into as much detail as I will send you a mood board for probably what I'm going to wear. I'm going to send you color schemes of, like, what world we're going to be living in. And then, because the reason I do that is it takes a little bit of time to create. And when a brand gives me that time, I absolutely take it. But the reason I do that is that I want you to understand exactly what I'm going to be creating, so that nothing shocks you.
Well, that's
when
the thing.
I send it.
Yeah, you're giving the brand confidence.
Exactly.
So that they're like kept in the loop with everything. Because I'm sure they don't want to be receiving something last minute and then they're like, oh, can we reshoot this? Yeah,
exactly, right? And a lot of the time it's like, I always try and have a perspective on every brief, in the sense of, like, I don't like just following a brief to the letter. Mm-hmm. I'm always like, okay, cool, I like these parts of the brief. I'd like to, change this a little bit, shape this a little bit. And that's what I communicate, obviously, in that thing that I sent over, in that deck that I sent over. Given that they're happy with the deck, I'll obviously have made a decision by that point whether I'm going to self-shoot it or whether I'm going to work with someone to self-shoot. Mm-hmm. Set a shoot date, we go out, we gather the content, and then we deliver it back and then wait for feedback. And usually I tend to overshoot. So I tend to, when I'm working with people, I like working with people who are very open so we have a plan, but it's like, we can just, that can ebb and flow, that can change as we shoot. So then what tends to happen is we always have a backup or like a catalog of things that we could like shift and pivot the content to in case the brand's like, hey, we'd like to have more focus on this. So instead of going back to reshoot, there's now like a little bit of more leeway that we have in terms of the clips that we've collected. So yeah, that's kind of like how I approach it from jump. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I would say like you're always listening to the brand's brief first,
Yeah.
and then you're kind of internalizing that and thinking, okay, how can I make this organic and natural to my own, platform and brand? And I'm always thinking when I'm working with a brand, how can I make this look authentic to who I am? Like, for example, when it comes to a fashion brand sending me their new linen collection, I'll send back something, be like, I would love to go on holiday to like Italy and make a video around my linen fits in the Amalfi or something. And just kind of make it organic to like who I am. But I feel like brands have been very receptive recently to like listen to the creator, because that is an aspect of who we are as a brand. Is like, we're not just the audience reach or the one shooting it in front of the camera. It's also that creative aspect behind. So I feel like brands quite like allowing us to give our 2 cents on a brief, and then kind of, maneuvering it to fit who we are as a person.
Yeah. I feel like, you're right. There's definitely been a shift on that. Brands have been a lot more open with that stuff. I think when I first started, it was quite difficult. There wasn't that much movement, but now there's a little bit more movement. But it also goes back to kind of what I said right at the very start. It's like the more you push for creative freedom, the more you find that the brands that approach you are brands that will allow you creative freedom, because you're kind of weeding out the ones that won't. As you go. And because brands can see that, right? Based on the stuff that you put out, they'll be like, oh, will he just be able to make what we want? It looks like he's putting his, his stamp on everything that he makes. And then it kind of will either motivate them to reach out to you, or, defer them from being like, okay, actually, maybe just kind of leave it alone.
All right. So this is for a brand, online travel banking. The aim is to encourage your audience to switch to a fee-free overseas current account, highlight the ease of traveling without extra charges, and drive online awareness of the bank offering for this current account. The key message is fees out of the office tagline. Highlight at least one of these features of the current account. Receive transaction alerts. Split transactions with friends through the app. Compliance, including messaging that although there are no card usage fees abroad, users should check ATM fees. Concept examples: not on holiday, a split screen video. Sorry, this is a lot. Where one side shows someone frustrated by hidden fees. On holiday, film a quick montage of your travel day, showing how you use a no fee account to pay for everything from coffee to souvenirs, while emphasizing the ease of budgeting. Oof. This is what I, could see you cooking. And then deliverables is a TikTok video.
Yeah. Do you know what? Sometimes it's like there are a couple of these things that are not as sexy. You know what I mean? Like hidden fees and stuff like that is not as sexy. But so I think then what I'll probably try and do is focus on the feeling of traveling, the ease of traveling, and that kind of relief and relaxation. So what I might do is if I have time and a decent budget, is I might pick like 3 locations. Right, I might pick like three locations, maybe in Europe, 3 cities that I've always wanted to visit, or 3 cities that I haven't visited, and I would build a story around visiting somewhere visiting these 3 cities for the very first time. That would be my in to the world that we're creating, right? And then obviously as I shoot and travel through those 3 cities, you then have the shots of whether it's purchasing souvenirs, whether it's experiencing things that are very specific to those cities, cultural things that are very specific to those cities that you might have to possibly pay for. There's a transactional exchange for those things, right? And then I would feel, because it's an online banking like app, right? I feel myself paying through the app, and what we might do, for a couple of frames, is might have something like a screen record that we kind of like, not so much as a screen record, maybe like something that we something that just shows the phone screen in like a really creative way, that shows the alerts coming through when I have paid for something. Cool. Right? So like, what I mean? Let's say there's like a really incredible like art gallery or museum or whatever, you know, you have a shot of you tapping on the contactless or paying however with your phone, and then as you're walking in, you have like again the shot of the phone on the again, maybe it might be a split screen or it might be just a tight close up of the hand, and then the alert comes on and you're like, okay, cool, click, put the phone away, and then you experience what you're experiencing. So like the messaging would be subtle and they'd be dropped in key points, but the storyline I would create would be more around me experiencing these cultural moments in 3 cities that I've never been to for the very first time. So I'd lead the story, you know, subliminally and just very slowly drop the messaging in there. That's kind of how I'd approach that.
I'm double tapping, commenting,
Boy,
downloading the app.
downloading the app. Yes, yeah. And you know what? I would avoid at all costs like an out and out CTA.
Yeah.
I would avoid that.
I think that's what kind of makes it look a bit too addy.
Yeah. Because you imagine just like you shoot this really cool stuff and it's this great experience, and it's like
Download the app.
download my app now for 3 weeks worth of guys. Come on, can we just? You know what I mean? So I try to avoid that. But yeah, that's how I do it.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm here for that. I can already see it being done.
Hey, we should just go do it. Just because. Just because.
As long as I'm on the trip.
Yeah. Come on, man. Okay, I've got one for you here, and I think you'd be great with this. Right, so it's a mobile network provider, and the aim is to raise awareness of the brand's Run Connected campaign, designed for creators who love running and fitness or an active lifestyle. Show how your phone keeps you connected during your runs, whether it's tracking progress, playing music, or staying in touch. You do this. You did it weekly. This is you. Content examples: capture your morning run, highlighting how your phone's fitness app tracks your progress and keeps you motivated with your favorite playlist. That was for an Instagram reel. So TikTok video content example would be show a day in the life of a runner, emphasizing how your phone helps you stay connected with friends and share your route in real time. Deliverables: 1 Instagram reel, 1 TikTok. 30 days paid usage right on the brand's social channels. No collaborations with other phone providers for 4 weeks before and after you post. 8 weeks exclusivity.
Heavy.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah, straight off the bat, I'm telling the brand, this fits perfectly in line with how I live my life. So
100.
When it comes to creating videos, I'm big on the storytelling aspect. You're introducing, I guess, who you are in a certain way, showing a bit of the current problem, creating that relatability so other people can look at the video and be like, I get that.
Yeah.
And then you show the solution of like, this is how the brand is solving this. So, for example, like I like to think I live a healthy lifestyle. I go for those morning runs. I have that morning routine, and I'm always connected. So one of the problems, I wouldn't even say it's a problem. One of the things about living in multiple countries is you have people contacting you at every time of the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like for example, my mum's in South Africa. She's a few hours ahead. My business is in America. They're a few hours behind. So I have to constantly be connected, whether I'm on my morning run or I'm in the gym. So I think I would. It's honestly just the common day in the life thing. It's the morning of going through the routine. I wouldn't show the app or the mobile service from the jump.
Yeah.
It's kind of incorporating it into showing how it's making my life easier.
Yeah.
So I'm going through the morning routine. I'm knocking back that coffee, journaling, meditating, doing that. And then it's answering the emails on the go, while you're warming up for your morning run.
Yeah.
And then while I'm on the run, I'm either connecting the phone to my Apple Watch, seeing the messages come through, making mental notes, and then while I'm on the run, I'm thinking about what I'm kind of responding to these messages, whether it's my mum or business, whatever. Yeah. And then, kind of getting home and then getting to it. It's quite difficult.
Yeah.
It's a difficult question, this, actually.
Yeah. But no, you've laid it out very well. In fact, I can help you shoot this.
Yeah.
If you want to, we can make it tomorrow, man.
Yeah. Honestly. But yeah, the thing, I think our creative process is quite different, where you're creating a movie, and like I'm kind of just incorporating it into what I'm doing during the day.
Do you know what you mentioned about like you would not fail, but you wouldn't like, you know, jump into like showing the brand or whatever like straight away. One thing I've noticed from like working with brands is that like there's this thing where sometimes they'll say, you know, you have to have the name of the brand or some sort of messaging within the first 3 seconds, right? Of the ad or of whatever it is you're creating. And I find that really interesting because I think brands think that they have 3 seconds to make an impression, right? Because of course we understand that people's attention spans are really short and like, you know, people scroll and da. But I think what happens when they say you have to mention the brand in the first 3 seconds is that it takes away from the storytelling aspect of what you're trying to do or from the relationship you're trying to set up with whoever's watching or the trust you're trying to build with whoever's watching. So what happens is people are actually more likely to scroll in that first 3 seconds when they know it's an ad, as opposed to if you allow the creator to build like a genuine relationship with whatever it is they're using, whether it's like you say this mobile network or whatever, right? And then get into the fact that, you know,
this is how it solves.
This is how it's, yeah, exactly. This is how it solves the problem. But it's like, I found it so interesting. This whole like, yeah, you know, this messaging needs to be in within the first 3 seconds and you need to do this, or you need to have this on the screen. I'm just kind of like, that doesn't do what you think it does. Like it's more of a deterrent than it is like something that pulls people in. But yeah, I just wanted to like kind of get how you find that or how you navigate that.
I think it honestly comes down to like, what's the goal of the campaign?
Yeah.
Is it to drive conversions and like make sales of clothing? Is it to build awareness? Is it to just show it being used? Like there's different kind of aspects of, and I think brands, it would honestly help if they tell the creator like, I would love it if you try drive sales to this, or if you just show it being used so that people are aware of it. Like it's very different things. Like if there's a call to action, it's clearly like go through this link, whatever. But then if it's like I'm naturally using this in my everyday life, it's like, oh, okay. Like makes sense why he's using it.
Why he's using it. Yeah. Super interesting, man. But yeah, what would you charge for a campaign of of that size that you just eloquently described there, sir?
I'll leave that to management.
But are you independently? Okay, no, I got you. That leads us perfectly into segment 4, Money Talks.
This is an interesting one, actually.
It is an interesting one.
Because I've been thinking about this for a while now. And I've, like, when it comes to money and social media, it's difficult to know, like, how to price yourself.
Oh, so hard.
You know, everyone's different. Everyone's got different, you know, strategies in which they go about things. Everyone's follower count's different.
Yeah.
So I think, like, the money side is so personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I before we dive in, I think like one thing that most people forget is like, a brand deal can pay quite well, but what about all the videos that you're putting out for free? And if you're spreading the cost of that one video across all the videos it took to engage that brand deal, the cost, like, it's not super high a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's true.
Because like sometimes you might be posting 30 videos and then you get brand deal.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wow, this brand deal, it's paying so much.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh wait, but spread that across your 30 days of posting.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also quite it's a bit of like a volatile industry as well, right? In the you know, you have, you know, peaks and troughs, and you have moments that are like, you know, feel like you're working quite a lot, and then moments that feel like super quiet. So I think everything does average itself out. So yeah, sometimes like, you know, having like a really high paying campaign, really it's like you have to think about how you're managing that across your year, not just like, oh, I've had this spike in this one moment. So yeah, it's really quite It's quite interesting.
With that being said, what is your highest paid brand deal?
Highest paid brand deal. I won't say an exact figure, but you know, I have worked on some things that have been like in the 5-figure mark, but those tend to be again things where I am more so producing the content, directing the content, being in the content, and delivering the content for usage, sometimes outside of even my platform. Like I've worked on some tech stuff where I've had to create like four or five videos, and then that's what the brand is paying for, is usage for those videos in different platforms. I will say there's a tip that I learned when working on this campaign that I'm talking about that I think everybody should absolutely use. Is if you are ever, let's say, contracted by a brand to create 3 videos and they want to use 3 videos, and you have ideas for 5 videos, make the 5 videos to the highest of your ability and then try and sell the brand on those extra 2 videos. Because chances are, if they love the 3 videos you've made and you already have these 2 extra videos that you shot while you were there, try and sell those 2 videos onto the brand. You'll be so surprised as to how receptive they are. By the time you've already created 3 things that they love, they're just going to be like, we might as well take the other 2 and we'll figure out what to do with them.
Damn. Noted. I'm in creator school right now with a pro.
Bro, listen, I'm telling you, like, you just have to just be thinking of, okay, how can I continue to just expand this world and this opportunity? So
yeah.
How about you? What's the highest paid until you had?
Around the same figure mark as you, but that's typically for multiple deliverable.
Who is it?
Like I always tell a brand when I meet them, I love a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Like I want the brand to make sense with who I am. I want people to associate me with the brand or the brand associated with me because they're constantly seeing it on a weekly, monthly basis so that it makes more sense.
Yeah.
That's why I'm quite picky when it comes to brands, because it does have to align and it has to be something that if they turn around and go, Creed would love to work on a 12-month ambassador program.
It's an automatic, yes.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I use you naturally and organically and like, yeah. So I love those kind of long-term ones. You build that relationship with the brand and then you also have that connection with them where you can start pitching them ideas
100.
and being like, that's my favorite part is the pitching component
100.
where you're like, hey guys, so I'm going to the Amalfi Coast.
Yeah.
It would be great to work on like an up and coming linen line that I can showcase, like,
100%
on the beach over there or whatever. I love pitching little concepts. So.
No, that's a really great way to structure it, man. Absolutely. Go for the long term, pitch away and see what you can get. What was your lowest deal you've ever taken and why did you take it?
Ooh.
My lowest one is so wild.
Like how little the amount was?
So wild, bro. So it was the first thing I ever did.
Okay.
First thing I ever did. And it was, I think it was like, in the end, it was one TikTok video at the time. And I had like a decent following number by that point. Like I was in the hundreds of thousands by that point, but I hadn't yet like been, because obviously on TikTok at that time, you literally would grow like 10K a night. Like it was wild. Like, so, but I did this thing that took me like 3 days to edit, and it was like this transition video, went through like different outfits, and it was for like a fitness brand. Went through different like, sportswear and activewear and all that stuff, and I got paid £300 for it. £300, and it took me days to make, and they posted it on their socials as well, and
why? Okay,
it's a pretty big brand.
Yeah. So let's expand on that.
Yeah.
Why were you willing to like take such a low amount for?
Yeah. Honestly, man, I saw the email come in. It's the first email I got of that nature. I said, we're doing it.
Fair.
I didn't have representation at that time, So, they'd ask me, hey, what would you charge for? And they'd ask the question, what would you charge for
Balls in your court.
balls in your court? And I'm like, I don't really know what to charge for this.
You're on Google.
I'm on Google. I still got my 9 to 5, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I just want to get started. Do I really care that much about the money right now? I just want to make something. I was in a place where I was just like super into creating, so I was like, yeah, fine. And then I was just like, yeah, £300. Like, I don't know. I'll just take that and just send it over. And then obviously they replied lightning speed. The email barely landed. They said, "Yeah, we'll take." That's spectacular. Give me 14 of those, right? They took that so quickly, so I was like, "Yeah, I may have."
It's not a good feeling when you're like, oh, I wonder if they're going to take this. Within 30 seconds, they're like, yeah, sounds good. And you're like, oh, you're like, could have asked.
Looking at the budget, like. Yeah, okay. We're gonna be fine.
Sign this.
Yeah. Oh, so funny. But I think that needed to happen.
Yeah.
It needed to happen for me to just understand a lot more about how to manage situations like that.
Yeah. Fair.
How about yourself?
I'm trying to think of an amount. It was more than £300.
All right, bro. It was at a vulnerable time.
Yeah. No, I hear it. I hear it. I think it was around like €1,000.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I only really dived into monetizing my platform in probably the past like 2 years. So I'm quite new to it, and I did have management from the jump.
Okay.
So they were kind of helping me out a lot.
Yeah.
But one thing about when it comes to these kind of lower paying jobs is you have to think like long term.
Yeah.
And if it's a brand that I really want to work with, and if it's one that I see myself just really doing big things with down the road and in the future, the money doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'll take
Yeah.
the hit if it's like I really want to be associated with this brand.
Yeah.
And it was a brand that I was like, wow, the opportunity outweighs the pay. Like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Heck, I'd probably do it for free.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. To be fair, there's certain brands that I like, that I love, and I use a lot, that I'm like, yeah, I'll probably yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, the thing is, like, there's so many experiences that brands create for you, and you're like, this experience is so amazing. Like, I'm gonna just create content about it because of how amazing they've made this time for me.
Yeah.
For example, when we went and played at Stamford Bridge,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was like, this is an amazing
Yeah.
opportunity. I'm gonna create this into a post.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's obviously like we're not saying just like take whatever fee just because you love a brand, but it's like you have to weigh up, what do you really want from it? What do you think that you're getting from it? How does it really benefit you? Because I think there's some fees that are lower that I will accept because it allows me to really take the creative seat and really drive it forward. And I'm like, at certain points in like my career or what I'm trying to do, that is the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to then take that at that point. So
Yeah, one thing you also have to think about is a lot of brands are kind of trialing and testing creators to see like what's their creative process like, what's the content going to look like. So when you get gifted things, you like, there's some brands like, okay, I really want to make this a special piece of content to like, for when they eventually have an activation, they know what I'm capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what, I gifting is so interesting for me sometimes because it's like, a lot of the times I really want to make sure I'm using the thing that I get sent. So then I went through a period where I would turn a lot of things down for like gifting because I'm like, I just don't really think it
aligns with your life.
It aligns with my life. And then the things that I do get gifted, I try and use them like properly. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Then it makes its way into my content organically. So yeah, definitely. Oh, sorry, I'm skipping a couple questions here, but just because I want to hear you talk about this a little bit as well. So how do you diversify your income as a creator? And if so, how? See, I know that you've got something launching this week.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
Yeah, so before I was actually a creator, I come from a family of like small business owners. So like entrepreneurship was always kind of like in my blood. So I always wanted to kind of have my own brand, have my own business. And for the better part of 3.5, 4 years, I've been working on a pretty special company called VersaWare, smart kitchen appliance company, diving into like nutrition AI. So it's like kind of nerdy.
Yeah.
But before I built my brand, I was like, the long-term goal is always to have my own business. And having a strong brand associated to your personal life just helps accelerate that brand. So I started the business, built my brand, and then we managed to raise investment for the company, which was really nice because that took the stress of being a full-time content creator, making like social media money away, because I was able to start paying myself a salary from my own company.
Yeah.
And what I actually found with that was when I took that financial burden away from social media, it allowed me to start posting more of what I wanted to post, how I wanted to post, how much I wanted to post. And I just felt like I started to attract more brands that I really wanted to work with.
Yeah.
But I think as a creator, there's so many ways to kind of diversify your income now. I think having your own brand or company is probably the best thing you could do, because you know how to market a product. You do it for multiple brands. Like, why wouldn't you build something yourself?
Yeah. Absolutely.
The main thing is you kind of want to build a company that doesn't scare away all of those brands.
Yeah.
So like if it's a fashion brand that you start, like sometimes like other fashion brands might be scared to collaborate with you because you've got your own brand.
Yeah.
So like starting a business in a world that doesn't kind of step on the toes of the brands you're working with is a good idea.
Yeah.
I would say. But I know what really helps a lot of creators is also getting into consulting. Like maybe it's becoming a social media manager for other brands, or consulting big companies and being like, this is how creators work, like kind of teaching them in a sense. That's a great way to diversify. But what about you? I know you've got a few things in the works as well. I see you on the red carpet, not just watching the films, but interviewing the big dogs.
Brad, that has been a whole whirlwind in itself. But yeah, I think for myself, I try and just diversify my creativity in itself, and then that diversifies the income, right? I diversify the way I approach the creativity. So, like obviously the social media stuff and being in front of the camera, that's like obviously one way to do it. I have worked on multiple things where I have just, again, produced and directed content for a brand, and they've gone on to do whatever they want with it. So same realm, but two very different roles that allow you a little bit of freedom either side. So there's also that. And then, there are things, again, like I say, I try and get out in the real world and do things, whether it's like, I've worked with some artists to sort of direct some of their content or their visualizers. That's some stuff I'd love to do a lot more. The red carpet stuff just allows me to showcase a little bit more of like the presenting side of things and other things that I'm passionate about, and just having just cool conversations. And I love films as well. Like I love films a lot. So that's allowed me to, again, step into another area of something I'm passionate about, and, again, diversify that. But in turn with that comes like another income stream there. And then also just like, as it's always so weird. I really struggle to call myself an actor because it's still kind of really new for me. But as an actor as well, obviously, you're taping all the time, whether you're taping for shows or you're taping for like commercials. And I used to be a dancer before all of this. So I've done commercials in the past, or I've done dance work in the past. So that's not such a new thing for me. And, I think the last 2 years I've booked like a commercial that's completely separate to like anything I'm doing on social media. I just go in as just myself. I audition, I tape for things, and I think that's also really refreshing as well because again, it switches things up for me. So yeah, those are kind of ways that I kind of approach it. But yeah, definitely trying to diversify the creativity, and in turn, the income will come from different streams.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you kind of do what you enjoy and do what you love, eventually, like, the money finds its way through that stream.
Yeah, it does.
And that's honestly how it starts on social. Is like, I think a lot of the best creators don't think about the money as the end goal. They're just like, I really enjoy creating.
Yeah.
And then they start to build that community, that audience, then like things come to them.
I think it's up from there.
Mr. Tega, where can people find you, mate?
I'm just at Tega Alexander on everything, really. Apart from Snapchat, I'm not on there.
Anything exciting coming out?
You know what? Things outside of social media coming up. We'll just kind of keep an eye out for. Nothing that I can really like plug like that, but just things outside of social media, which obviously I'll share on social media. But
I'll be watching.
just real world things that I've been working on.
Very cool.
Yeah. How about yourself? Talk to me.
People can find me, just my name, Creed McKinnon, Instagram, TikTok. Got a little business in the works, VersaWare. So fingers crossed everything there goes to plan, but keep your eyes on that one. So
I'll be reaching out for gifting. So
we'll get you in the kitchen, mate.
Get me in the kitchen.
We'll cook something up.
Hey, I can't cook, so you're gonna do that. But not playing. Well, amazing. Well, thank you for having us on Creators on Creators. I have been Tega Alexander.
And Creed McKinnon. Thank you.
Wow.